So I've talked about the camera on Microsoft's Surface Duo and more specifically the Duo 2 quite a bit on this channel. And in today's video, we're going to talk about it a little bit more. And the reasoning for this is because I think that it's something that in the Duo community, people don't really care about all that much, right? A lot of people in the Duo community are still rocking original Gen 1 Surface Duos as a backup phone or a secondary device, right? So you have your Duo in your pocket and an iPhone in your pocket or something like that, something with presumably a much more capable camera. However, the broader tech world, right? People that, other people, normal people that are Duo people, and I'm sorry to tell everybody here, the Duo people are not in fact normal, but it is what it is. These people, they expect their $1,000 plus phone to have a camera that is good enough that they don't need to then carry another phone at the same time. And so while it's not that big of a deal for the Duo community, the camera is in fact a big deal for everyone else. And we know this, and we know that Microsoft knows this because what did they do with Duo 2? They put a camera array on the back. I remember when this was first being rumored, I had comments from so many of you, and I even saw full-fledged videos from other Surface Duo sort of creators saying there's no way they're going to put a camera bump on the back of it. And I kept telling you, I'm sorry, it's going to happen. It's what's happening. I have seen it with my own eyes. It is coming. Nobody believed me, or at least a lot of people did not believe me, which was quite funny in retrospect. But anyways, I digress. The camera is very important, and on Duo 2, the camera is greatly improved over Duo 1, but there are a handful of glaring, massive problems that are going to have to be addressed on Surface Duo 3. Whether or not, look, we all wanted it to be dual screen. I shouldn't say we all, but most of us wanted it to be dual screen. We now know with all confidence that it is in fact going to be a single folding OLED screen, a la the Z Fold line, which is going to bring it in closer competition, more direct competition with that device. And guess what? This device has a better camera than this device. And it's not in the standard ways that you think about it. Most people, and I've done this too, you do camera comparisons, you take the same photo twice and you compare them and you say, hey, Duo 2 actually is really, really close to the Z Fold in terms of photographic prowess. However, there's more to it than just the end result, the output of the photo, and that is what we're going to talk about today. So the first big hurdle that I think is going to be automatically jumped when it comes to the camera system on Surface Duo 3 is going to just be the ease of use. A lot of you guys really hated taking photos with Surface Duo or Duo 2 because it was just difficult to do, right? Because if you wanted to take a picture of this thing, you pull it out of your pocket, then you got to open it up, unlock the thing, launch the camera, and then you kind of have to like hold the thing in such a way to take the picture, and it's big and it's awkward, and doing that with one hand was effectively impossible. Now, if we imagine that Duo 3 is going to look a lot like this, and in fact, it is going to look a lot like this is a much simpler process because all you have to do is unlock the phone, launch your camera, and take your picture with the cover display. If you want to get fancy, you can open it up and take a picture with the internal screen, the tablet display on the inside. Okay, so that hurdle is going to be jumped not by any change in software, but by the simple change in form factor. Okay, and this is something that for me, I must admit I'm going to enjoy it just being a simpler one-handed camera experience. Now, I will tell you that I do like things about the camera experience on Duo. I like the fact that when I take a picture, I then see that picture on my other screen. I really do like that, and I hope that they still continue doing things like this on the tablet screen. And I believe you can do something similar here on the Z Fold. Yes, you can. So you can see your shot straight away. So they need to do the same sorts of things on the Duo 3. But all in all, just improving that ergonomic experience is going to happen automatically, like I said, by the form factor changing. Now, some things I might miss, right? I was one of these weird people that I like to take my camera and put it down there and take photos like this with my thing angled up, and I could almost use it like a controller, and it would allow me to take pictures looking up at things without physically having to look up at them myself. Maybe it was a bright light or something like that. So that's going to probably, well, I guess you could still kind of do that, right? Because you could potentially, if it's a hinge that can be set like this, I guess they could still find a way to make that work as well, as long as it understands the sort of posture that it's in. So I think that is a really big piece of the puzzle that's going to be automatically solved on Duo 3 for a lot of people. Now, another thing though that they're going to have to address and they're going to have to improve is just the general performance of the camera app. A lot of the time, it is extremely performant and there is almost no shutter lag at all, right? It's really, really rock solid. And again, I must state this because there's always that one person in the comment that says, what do you mean there's shutter lag? No, there's not. Shutter lag is when I press the button and it takes the picture, not how long it takes for the picture to process and pop up on the other screen. These are different things. Shutter lag is the one that actually matters. It doesn't matter how long it takes to process. It matters how quick it is to take the picture. And if we grab my Z Fold 4 and let's go into the camera app over here and let's kind of compare the shutter. Like watch whenever I press the button to how long it takes for the picture to be taken. It's right on par with the Z Fold 4, which is really, really impressive. However, unfortunately, it's not always the case. Sometimes you go to open up this camera app and it's laggy and the viewfinder is kind of laggy. Sometimes when it's dark, it gets a little bit framey. It's actually doing okay right now, but there's just these weird times when it's inconsistent and the performance is bad and you go to take a picture and it lags and there's just something weird going on and you wind up having to do this thing where you close everything out and then you try again and you've probably missed the shot that you were looking for at that point. They have got to iron this stuff out. It reminds me of a phone that I'm reviewing right now, the Unihertz Titan, which has a camera app where the viewfinder is just a little jittery and it just doesn't feel super premium. This device is under $400. This is a premium device. There's no excuse for having a viewfinder that seems a little weird sometimes. And again, it's not all the time, but it is far too often. This is not something I see on my Samsung device. This is not something I see on my Google Pixel device. Microsoft has got to fix these inconsistencies. Now, another place where the Duo's camera is inconsistent is, unfortunately, in the output. A lot of the time, the pictures are quite good, but there are some instances, some scenarios where it does, in fact, struggle. Let's take a look at some of those now. So this is a really good example. I was at my mother's house the other day, and my niece was holding Rose, and of course, very hilariously, Rose made quite the face while she was being held. But you're going to notice something here. It's a very sunny, bright day. The light coming in these windows was very, very bright. And you can see here, we are way, way blown out. I took another shot directly after, and it is even more blown out. So in these scenarios where the lights are very bright and also somewhat in shadow at the same time, if it's not metered in the right place, things get really, really weird. Now, if I had have tapped to focus, maybe on like an area to meter with some more of the brightness, because there's obviously metering here, and you could say this is actually probably a little underexposed. If I had have metered it manually, I could have probably gotten a better shot, but you shouldn't have to do that. Another example, when we get into areas that aren't necessarily low light, but they're just suboptimal, right? You've got a really bright light for it to deal with, or you have some dimness for it to deal with. It's not as bad in the dimmer stuff, but what you get is you get this sort of, maybe I'd call it like chromatic aberration. It gets noisy, but the noise has this weird color to it that I hope you can see in this image. There's some weird rainbowing, and the best thing I could call this would be aberration. Maybe there's a better photographer's word for this, but it gets this weird noisy thing going on. Now, if you use a Gcam port and their night mode, you don't have this problem at all. And the night photography, low light photography gets so much better. It's absolutely mind-boggling. But again, Microsoft has to improve this. The inconsistencies in really bright lights, things get weird, and some dimmer lights, and in some darkness, things also get weird. They must catch up. Now, here's the good news. When we're taking images that are taken in good lighting, Duo 2 can squeeze out some really nice shots, okay? Like this is a shot that I'm actually like, every time I look at it, I'm like, that came out of my Duo 2. Now, I did go and edit this a little bit and change some of the values around, but in general, I didn't have to do much, and this was a really nice shot. This is a really nice shot. It did a good job here of preserving the detail in these shadows, even though it was a very sunny day. Things aren't blown out behind it. Really nice colors, punchy, really, really good. I tweeted this one just the other day. It was a really cold, foggy morning. If it'll let me zoom in here, which it just is refusing to right now. Look at the details it preserved in this tree from that distance. Like it has the possibilities, the capabilities of taking some really nice shots, but it's the inconsistencies of Surface Duo. And boy, isn't that just like a microcosm of the device. When it's working well, when things are going well, it is unbelievable. It's phenomenal. But with the camera and with some other aspects of Duo, there are just too many times for the broader public where things slow down, where things are not as they should be. And that consistency is something Microsoft absolutely must address on Duo 3 in particular, because Duo 3 will be competing head-to-head in a much more real way with the Galaxy Z Fold 5, presumably by the time it comes out. Guys, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on more content like this. I'll see you on that next video, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.